So in this video, we're going to learn about corresponding and alternate angles. And these happen when we have two lines which are parallel. Parallel means that these two lines will never meet. And we can tell that these are parallel because they've got these two symbols there, which means that these two lines are parallel. And then they have a line intersecting them like this. There's different names for these. Some people call them F angles and Z angles. The reason being that you can see that this makes an F shape like that. And they can be called Z angles because you can see that they make a Z shape as well. But the important thing to know is that some of the angles are going to be the same. We've already learnt that vertically opposite angles are the same. So I can fill them in. But what we also now know about corresponding and alternate angles is if you imagine where this F shape is, see how that corresponds to there? That means that that angle will be the same, which therefore means that that angle will be the same, which means that this will be red and this will be red. So these two angles will equal those two angles and these two angles will equal those two angles. So again, corresponding would be these angles, the brown one to the brown one, and the alternate angles would be that red one to the red one. So some people might call these F angles and Z angles, or fangles and zangles, if you want to say it like that, as a way of remembering it. But what we need to do is fill in the missing angles, and it's really straightforward now that we understand vertically opposite and corresponding and alternate angles. We know that this is 67, so therefore that must be 67, which means that that angle and that angle must also be 67. Angles in a straight line add up to be 180, which means that that angle is going to be 113. That's going to be 113, which means that that's going to be 113, and that's going to be 113. So I colour them in to show which ones are equivalent or equal. So we'll look at example 2. Might look a bit different, but ultimately it is still two parallel lines and another line here. So if this is 87, this one must be 87, which means that these two must also be 87 degrees. Angles in a straight line add up to make 180. 180 take away 87 is 93, which means that's 93, which means that these two are 93 degrees. So I'll fill them in, colour them in, sorry. Just so it shows you exactly what angles are going to be equal. Now, example 3 is a bit more complicated. What can be difficult about these is seeing what the angles are equal to each other. The noticeable things to see is, firstly, there is a triangle here. So eventually we're going to be using our knowledge of triangles. But what we want to do firstly is use this one, okay? Just work at it slowly. What do we know about vertically opposite? They're the same, 42 degrees. What do we know about angles in a straight line? They add up to be 180. So 180 take away 42 is 138, which means that that's also 138 degrees. Now if I cover this up, you can see that that is making a similar shape to this, which means there is some corresponding and alternate angles here. So 42 and 42, which means 42 and 42, which means 138 and 138. Now if we look here, 143, so 143, 180, take away 143 is going to give us 37. which means that's going to be 37. And again, if I cover this up, you can see that there's going to be some corresponding and alternate angles. So that means this is also going to be 37 degrees. I'm running out of space, but that's going to be 37 degrees. So that's going to be 143, and that's going to be 143. Last one is a triangle. I'm going to draw that bigger so that you can see what's actually going on. So we can get that last angle. That's 42 degrees. That's 37 degrees. How are we going to get that? Well, 42 plus 37 is 40 plus 30 is 70, 72, 79 degrees. And then 180 minus 79 degrees will equal 101 degrees. So what's going to happen with the questions is that it will involve a lot of everything together. So you're not just going to be having questions on F angles or Z angles or corresponding or alternate angles. You could be having an example like this, which has a triangle, it has a straight line, it has a point. It's just understanding and recognizing where all these angles are. But you've got these videos to help you if you do get stuck. But that in this video was corresponding and alternate angles, or as some people call them, F angles and Z angles, or fangles and zangles. Okay.